Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's class. So, welcoming Priya Natarajan would be taking today's class. What we've done so far is we've looked at the aksharas and the rules of Vedic chanting. That's one part. The second part is the swaras, which are very important. And who better to talk to us about swaras than a musician who studied both Carnatic and Hindustani classical and done chanting as well, and taught Vedic chanting as well. So we have Priya Natarajan today with us, and handing it over to you, Priya, to take us through this. I'm very excited to learn from you about sonic surgery. So, what is this surgery, and what does sonic surgery do? And so, I'm introducing you as a sonic
Sure.
surgeon. So,
Oh
over
my
to you.
God, thank you, Rohit. I think all of us will become sonic surgeons once, and we are because you've decided and chosen to come to this field of mantra chanting. So certainly, yeah, um, we are all. Just give me a second. I'll just put my phone on airplane because it's distracting me. Yeah. Okay. So, yep. Welcome everyone to this session. And today we are not only going to explore sounds about mantras in general, but not only that, obviously, we'll be exploring that, but also sound as such and how sound actually affects the human body, and therefore, why mantra chanting is so important. Because we need to come back to resonance and from dissonance. So that's the reason why we need to sort of use sound as a medium, because sound is one of the most, I would say sound is the most powerful medium for a human being. Because when you see the human being, in the fetus form also, for example, the first organ, sensory organ to develop is the ear, right? And you would have also heard stories about how Abhimanyu in the Mahabharata learned how to, sort of cut through the formation of the Chakravyuha in the womb itself, because because of the fact that the ear was developed
अरे वो
in the
तो
womb,
बेटा
right? Right. So that's why we need to understand sound. First of all, understand what is sound, and secondly, we need to have the ability to use sound to come back to our natural self from this world of distractions. So that's the reason why we need sound, and that's the reason why, in fact, mantra chanting is so important for us. Not mantra reading, but mantra chanting. So that's the thing. So having said that, let me just share my screen. Oh, so I have to send request. Rohit, I sent you a request for sharing my screen.
Yeah, you can share now.
Ah, thank you. Okay. So I'm gonna share this. Share. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Yeah. Can you see my screen, everyone?
Yes.
Excellent. Okay, so again, so welcome to the session on the Swara chanting on Krishna Yajurveda. But first of all, we'll talk about sound. So first, I want to ask a question to everyone. Yeah, 1 second. Yeah. So have you ever wondered why you feel a sudden, unexplained sense of peace when stepping to an ancient temple, and feel drained after spending some time in a shopping mall, even if a mall is quieter? I'm sure everyone has had a feeling, if not spending in a shopping mall, but any other place where there are even small things like beeps of electronic instruments, and simple something like the sound of the fan, sound of the small sound of the air conditioner. So those are some sounds which are there in the background. We don't even realize that we are listening to them, but our body is listening to them, and our body is reacting to them, and in fact aligning with them, I would say. Right? And that's why some sounds, when we align with, that drains our energy, and some sounds, if we align with, if we are in their atmosphere, it gives us a sense of peace, or gives us any sense, whatever sense the sound is designed to do. So that's that's probably one of the most powerful mediums. And the only problem with sound is that if you listen to that sound, you can't mentally say, I don't want this impact on my body. It will have an impact on your body whether you like it or not. So that's the whole problem with sound and also the whole advantage of sound. I would say that it's a very powerful medium, right? So, as I said, our body is not a spectator to sound, it's a resonator. Every cell, every drop of blood, and every nerve ending is a string vibrating in response to the world around us. I would like to actually take this thing to talk about. There was one experiment called the metronome experiment. So I don't know if you all know what a metronome is. A metronome is just something, or even a pendulum experiment. So there were like many pendulums, small pendulums there, like 20 of them in a room, and they were all going vibrating at different levels, a different frequency, in the sense that one was vibrating like this, the other one was vibrating completely different from the other pendulum, and there were many pendulums which were vibrating very very differently, right? And then after a point of time, what we noticed was that all of them were vibrating exactly the same way. So they aligned themselves to each other, um, and they aligned themselves to each other, and they were vibrating in the exact same frequency. And this is exactly what we do. We are all actually small instruments that are there in the world, and whichever company you keep, you start behaving like that company, you start vibrating like that. So it's all, we are all actually alive instruments, orchestral instruments is what I would like to say here, right? So let me move on. So the idea is, how do we move from displacement to resonance? In our daily lives, we have very unfriendly sounds, as all of us know, and I'm sure you can also recognize some unfriendly sounds in your environment as well. Now, how do you come back from a place of displacement to resonance? Right? So this is why we use not only mantras, we use classical music, we use sound healing. All of these are just tools for alignment of our body, right? So can we move, let me move on. So the ancient sages understood this, and they also understood that a specific vowel sound, if you hold it at a certain frequency, which is a note, it acts like a sonic massage. So if you're hearing it, it calms you down, it aligns you in a different way. And if you're chanting it, which is even better, it actually vibrates the tissues of the throat, and it sends that message of calming throughout your body. So when the sages understood that, they understood that this is the way you can manipulate your body. In fact, there's a German there's a German, I think he was a neuro researcher or what, Rohit, I don't remember, Fritz Stahl. You were talking about yesterday. Was he a researcher, or I don't remember what he was. Was he a
He
neuroscientist?
was a researcher, and I think he was more. He was also an anthropologist.
Okay,
Uh,
yeah, excellent. So actually, Fritz Stahl was, again, as I said, he's an anthropologist, and he came to India, and he basically listened to a lot of Nambudiri Brahmins. The Nambudiris are a caste in South India. Actually, they are a caste who also learned a lot of chanting. So he listened to those chants, and then he realized that those chants had a specific effect on his body, and he was very intrigued by that. And therefore, when he started researching into that, he actually realized that the sages were very very in tune with nature. So when they actually uh, designed the sound signature of the chants, they were actually mimicking a lot of bird sounds, a lot of nature sounds, right? Because actually our body, we actually calm down with the sounds of nature, with the sounds of water, with the sounds of birds chirping, with the sounds of different things. The sound of koyal is so enchanting, right? So this sages actually understood that, and every mantra has its own sound signature with this different kinds of vibrations, right? So this is why we chant the any mantra, right? And every mantra has a different power, right? And that is exactly what they understood, and they learned it from nature. And this is what Fritz Stahl actually researched. There is a documentary of Fritz Stahl also. I'm forgetting the name, but I'll share the name with you once the class gets over, right? Okay. I can, let me see the chat. Is there, are there some observations here? I'm not able to rise. Okay, so yeah, Because of okay, Rabi Shankar has said because of vibration carries, and then there's some iPhone. Yeah. So Gayatri is asking, she's not able to raise her hand. Is the calming effect on the body? Is it sound itself or slower breathing? Sound will actually manipulate your breathing. So we can calm ourselves through breathing, but the sound, okay, so also it's not only the slower breathing, but it's also the effect that the sound has on our cells, right? We are 70% water, and I'll actually tell you an experiment right now, which there was this Japanese guy called Mesuru, Japanese prof called Mesuru. He actually did this on water, and he found out what different frequencies actually get the water crystals to do. We'll actually look at that. So yes, definitely to slower breathing, but also at a cellular level because of the water alignment. It was Emoto. Yes, Anu. Thank you so much. Emoto Masaru, I think. We'll come back to that. Yeah, yeah. I'm not very great with names. Yeah. Okay. So okay. Now, having said that, okay, so now at this point, I think it's very important to tell that we are also manipulated by sound a lot by marketing. For example, whenever we go to a mall or whenever we go to a grocery store, you find that the music over there is very high tempo. That's because the grocery store or that fast food outlet wants you to eat quickly and move out. So it has actually been observed by a lot of marketing studies that if you play fast tempo music in a particular area, there is a 30% higher chance of people eating faster and moving out compared to if you don't play any music. So there is a study like that. And on the other side, if you want to make things feel expensive, so you might want to play any other music. For example, in wine shops, it is always seen that if you play classical music, okay, especially Mozart, Beethoven, and all these things, people actually tend to pay the price, and they don't bargain with you. They think that it's an expensive, it's an experience and all of that, and they actually pay the higher price and move out. So these are different ways that you actually are manipulated by sound, unknowingly. For also, I would say that a lot of communist Russia, when the communist regime was there, the Red Army, all of that was there. Specific kind of music was not allowed to be played by a lot of people. Romantic music was not allowed. The only kind of music that was allowed was music that invoked patriotic feelings. So, even in the Indian Army, there are certain beats that are followed for marching, or there are certain beats, and for them to actually invoke that patriotic fervor in them, they play different ragas for the same effect. They don't play all ragas, and it's a very, very well researched study about this. So the army has a different kind of music, the mall has a different kind of music, right? And if you go to the pictures, you want to invoke a romantic feeling, that has a different kind of music. So these are all subtle ways of manipulating the mind where you cannot control that. So that's the thing with music, with any sound. The only thing you can do is you can avoid going there, but once you've gone there, you cannot control what's happening to you at a cellular level. So that's the thing. Let me see. There is a chat. Yes, Islam says it's haram. No need for Hitler or Mussolini. I didn't get this point. Yes, in Islam, music is anyways haram because they want you to only focus on the adhan, the azan, for example, the prayers, the 5 times prayers, which are at a different frequency. So again, over there, it's another way of mind control. So music is a way of mind control, and music is a way of liberation. It depends on you how you want to use it, right? So that's the only thing I wanted to tell you. Having said that, we can move on. Right now, most of us, we all know that our body is 70% water, right? So now we are actually going to see an experiment of sound on water and sound, and we are also going to see how sound makes specific patterns. So every note has a particular pattern, right? So having said that, let me just I'll just stop sharing and I'll share my screen here, right? Okay, just give me a second. Actually, I want to take you through a YouTube video. I hope, Rohit, if I share the YouTube video, the sound should be coming. But
Yeah, you'll have to just
just
tick
try. Yeah.
show
Let
show
me just try
sound.
that. Yeah. All right. Okay. Yeah. So I'm sharing my Chrome now. Wait, hold on for a second. Not this one. Yeah, this one. So there was this experiment made by, let me just tell you the name of the person. Who is this person? Give me a second. I think I've forgotten that. Yeah, this, it's called cymatics. Okay, and yeah, Ernst in 1787, Ernst Chladni. So what he did was that he actually looked at a metal plate and he put some sand grains on it. Okay, and then he started playing frequencies, and then now we're going to see for some time how every frequency actually gives a different pattern. Oh god, what happened? What did I do? Oh, sorry. Yeah, so sorry. So how every frequency will give a different pattern on the sand plate. It's like a mandala. So I'm going to play this. Let me know if you can hear this or no. Like,
We
so
can
this
hear
one,
Priya.
yeah, perfect. It could be distressing to the ear sometimes when in the higher frequency, but just see the whole thing how it happens. As the note frequency changes, how are the patterns changing? As the frequency gets higher, the patterns. Now he's again trying to give some noise to it. Yeah, I'm going to stop here. I'm going to stop here. I'll share the link with you. But I just wanted to share that every note has a frequency. I mean, every note has a sound pattern, and that sound pattern gets, that sound pattern actually. Sorry, hold on. Yeah, one second. This is the. There was one. Just one second. I don't know where that is. Wait. Just give me a second. I also have another thing to show you where, yeah, this is at Masaru's experiment, right? So just give me a second. I'll just share that with you. Yeah. Right? Okay. Yeah. Isn't it not coming? Yeah. So now actually Masaru actually went ahead and he played different notes like A, B, C, and all, and these are the kind of patterns it makes on water. It makes on anything, for on the Chladni plates also. And one more thing was, one second. One more thing was that another interesting thing that he did was, one second. I think I typed the same link twice. So I'm not getting, yeah. Oh no, this is the same link. Hold on, give me a second. Sorry, I think I'm not getting that. Okay, anyways, let me just take you through that verbally. So what he actually did was that he took different glasses of water, okay, and then he said good words to some glasses of water like trust, love, hope, and all of that in some glasses of water, and he froze them. And then he took another set of glasses of water, another set of glasses, and then he basically said dissonant words like hate, fear, all of that. So he basically said that many times, and then he froze those glasses of water again. And then when he took the ice crystals and he let them, he actually found beautiful mandalas where he said, words of the positive, from the positive side, and he found very dissonant patterns, very random dissonant patterns, when he found that when he studied the ice crystals, when negative words were spoken. So that is the kind of effect our words also have on us, right? Yes. Yes, cymatics. So okay, yes. Yes. So I'm just seeing the chat as well. Sorry, I just have this habit. Yeah. So what I'm trying to say is that you can be manipulated if you keep yourself in an environment which is toxic. You are probably going to get into dissonance much faster, and that is why diseases and all come because of the misalignment. And that is because of the water content in your body, which also aligns itself to the frequency of the environment around it. So that was what I was trying to say. And so let me just stop sharing, and I'll share the PPT now. Yeah. Yeah. So having said that, now let me just hold on. Right. So having said that, it is so important for us to get back into alignment, because a lot of times we cannot control our environment, but at least we can now use sound as in an awakened state, and try to get back to resonance by using music of our choice. Either it can be mantras, it can be classical music, it can be anything, right? So most importantly, because here we are focused on mantras is a great way. So that is why chanting is a sonic surgery, because you can actually work on your body with the throat, the tongue, and the breath. They are your instruments for surgery, and then we can engage and we can come back to resonance. So that is why sonic surgery we can actually perform, and that's what we are all doing here at this point of time, using mantras, right? So let me just go to the next slide. So now coming to sonic surgery, okay, what actually does mastering a mantra actually require? So it has three things: varna, matra, and swara. We obviously focused on varna in the last classes, where Sinaji took us so beautifully, for all the syllables and all the pronunciations part of it, right? So today we are going to be focusing on more of swara and also matra. Right? So what is a matra really? Matra is the exact length of time a vowel is held. Right? So for example, if a matra is very fast, so your beats will be like thak, 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 thak. So that's a fast tempo. If a matra is very slow, you will be like 1, 2, 3. So that's a slower tempo. So your length of holding a note is longer when your tempo is slower. So that's your matra. And then we have the swara. Swara is the frequency. As we saw in the patterns, like every note has a different frequency, and you can also see it through the patterns. So every frequency is actually a note, right? So the exact musical note or frequency upon which a syllable is vibrated is called your swara, pitch or intonation. So having said that, are there any questions? Let me just get to the chat and see if there are no questions. So if you have any questions on any difficulty in following what is a matra and what is a swara, I'm more than happy to. Yeah. Now, next thing is that now coming to the pitch, there are three primary pitches which the Krishna Yajurveda chanting follows, because we are basically following the Krishna Yajurveda style of chanting, right? So we have the Anudata, which is the lower pitch, right? So we'll come to the notation, but let me try to annotate here. Yeah. So yeah, can you see my annotation? I mean, can you see my screen where I'm making the annotation? Yeah, there's a blue line. So for example, if you have a particular vowel called, say, right? Now, if you want to say that this is an anudata, the notation that you will use is you will have an underline on below the actual swara. So that means that you are supposed to pronounce this at a lower frequency, right? So when you do the lower frequency, the vocal, yeah, when you do the lower frequency, the vocal cords actually relax, uh, and the pitch drops. So basically, you are supposed to do it below your natural pitch. So everybody, when you talk, you have a natural frequency. So if you just lower it, if I lower the frequency, so now I'm talking at a different frequency. Now I'm talking at a different frequency, right? So I've actually lowered my sound. So I'm now talking at an anudata. I'm now talking at an udata. So you are changing your pitch. So whenever you lower your frequency, your vocal cords actually relax, and it is, the vibration is felt at your heart chakra. So it's a very grounding exercise to chant a long note at an anudata level, at a level that is below your normal frequency, right? So let me see. Okay, so if there are no questions, then we'll move ahead, right? Okay. Okay.
Ma'am, can you repeat that, please?
Yeah,
Can you
what
repeat
point?
that?
At what point? So there are three.
The Anudata, I mean, can you just repeat that, please? The
Yeah.
Anudata, how it, the frequency.
Okay. Yeah. So actually, don't worry so much. Don't. I think what you're worried is where what your normal frequency is. But
Yeah.
could you? Okay, that's fine. No problem. Your normal frequency is generally the voice that you talk in. So my voice is oh. So if this is my frequency, so oh. So this is my normal frequency. Now I just go little bit down. So from I go so I'm lowering my voice. Basically,
Okay.
when you lower your voice and you talk to somebody, when you somebody sleeping in the room, and then you don't want to wake them up, so you lower your frequency, right? So that's
Yeah.
in a way you're actually doing anudata practice.
Okay, but it's not
While talking.
equal to whispering, like how when
No,
we
no, it's not
whisper.
whispering. Sometimes you talk in a normal pitch. I mean, you talk normally, but you just lower your pitch so that it's not audible to everybody else around, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of anudata. So for now,
Okay.
before we get into that, that's kind of anudata, right? So let me also see the chat. Yeah, excellent. So now, yeah, let's move on. Yeah. So now we have anudata. So there are three primary pitches, right? So anudata we know is a lower pitch. What is the normal pitch? Udata. Is your actual normal baseline. This is a natural, strong, elevated baseline of the chanter's voice. So if you chant in a basically you're saying that you're chanting at your normal frequency, and by doing that you're inadvertently healing your Vishuddhi chakra, right? And you're actually getting more into the dynamic, more action oriented phase, if that's the effect, if you want to know the effect that it has on the energy system, right? So if you chant like simple Om, so that is your udata chanting. We'll come to that, don't worry. So till now we have understood what is anudata, what is udata. So if you want, you can actually chant your normal pitch Om, and from there you go down. So Om, Om. I'm now at anudata. Om. Back to udata. Om. Anudata. Om. Back to udata. Om. So can you understand the difference in my chanting, the frequency? Are you able to differentiate with your ear that I'm going down and up?
Yes, yes,
Okay, great. So that's exactly what. So if you can make out the difference, then you are going to master chanting. That's a simple thing, right? Now, having said that, now we have discussed two notes, udata and anudata. There is a third note, right? So the third note is called, Swarita. Swarita is slightly higher than the udata, right? So if I had to, okay, I didn't. So Udatta has so in from the perspective of in notation, as I said, this is your Anudatta. Udatta has no Udatta has no marking. So if a swara is just there as it is, it tells you that it instructs you to chant this at your normal frequency. And if I had to do it as a swarita, if the same akshara has to be chanted at a swarita level, I would say a, and I would put a line above it. That is your that is your notation, because you're going to be using mantra pushpam for you're going to be using mantra pushpam for your for your as your base book. So the mantra pushpam has these kind of notations that you might want to sort of memorize, because that's going to be your sort of your check whether you're actually hitting the right note or not, right? So if you really want to see the energetic impact, this is the Ajna chakra. So your Anahata chakra is your Anudatta, your Vishuddhi chakra is your Udatta, and your Ajna chakra, if you want to actually activate that, you will chant at a higher pitch from your normal one. So if my normal pitch is Om, so I'll just raise it a bit. Om, back to Udatta. Om, going back to Swarita. Om, Om. So, could you decipher that I was going lower and higher? Like, were you able to hear that?
Yes, it was.
Yes. Excellent. So that is the yes. Um, so Ananta ji has asked, I difference I get, but how are you doing it? How is your breathing transforming? Ananta ji, you once you actually, so for example, every note has a place in the throat. So my normal Udatta is at my throat, where the I don't remember, I don't know this, but where there's a hard part in your throat, that is your Udatta. So whenever you do Om, so this part will vibrate. Om. And then if you just take it lower, Om, the sound will come from here. It will come from here. So the sound comes from here for Anudatta, the sound comes from here for Udatta, and for Swarita it comes from Om, 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 slightly up. So you can change the frequency, and that is the practice that you'll have to do. It's very intuitive. So you when you sing Hindi songs, right, you do sing Hindi songs without just by listening, right? So that's exactly how you have to practice Anudatta, Udatta, and Swarita, just by listening. I will actually send some recording of mine where I'm sort of changing the vibration, changing the frequency. You can just follow my voice. So I hope that answers your question, Anita ji. Yeah, thank you so much. Excellent. Okay, so till now we've discussed the three primary pitches of the Krishna Yajurveda chanting. So when you, so I just want to tell you now that when the Krishna Yajurveda chanting actually came in place, there were only 3 notes. There were no 7 notes in the music. 7 notes came much later on. The 3 notes were simply Anudatta, Udatta, and Swarita. Right? Then from Yajurveda we came to the Samaveda chanting. Samaveda chanting had a much richer sense of notes. It did not only use 3 notes. And at this point I would like to ask Rohit to give us a demo of how Samaveda chanting actually happens. So over to you, Rohit.
Yeah, so I'll start with a disclaimer. This is the only Samveda mantra I know, and I learnt it in 1993, and it wasn't written down, so it's only audio. So there might be distortion that's come in between right, during this time. Om Adadaruto Samasrajo Vikana Twam varna abhayaddhana o yeda adaddarutsamassajo abhayaddhana o yeda adaddarutsamassajo abhayaddhana o yeda adaddarutsamassajo.
Wow, Rohit, that was beautiful. That was beautiful. Uh, so as I said, as Rohit Rajan demonstrated, that Sama chanting actually has more notes. For example, from the sa, to so there are more notes that Rohit actually chanted. So this is the Samaveda chanting, and it's actually very beautiful and more musical. The musical quality, the musicality is much stronger compared to the Krishna Yajurveda style of chanting. But however, today, I mean, and going forward, your training would be in the style of Krishna Yajurveda chanting and not Samaveda. So I just wanted to, Rohit just, I think it was Rohit's idea to give a, taste of the Samaveda chanting, which is so important and so beautiful. So you can always go and explore Samaveda on your own and just for your listening pleasure. Right? So, Seena ji has asked, sound frequency alone creates the effect. Is understanding the mantra also necessary? Shouldn't the sound? Yes, Seena ji. Sound works regardless. Sound, you have no control of how the sound works on you. Once you are in that environment, whether it's a good environment or bad, that's how you're going to become. Which also we say sangat ka asar. So that's also there. So you will vibrate into that thing. So irrespective of you don't understand the environment yourself, it is irrespective of that. So that is why we should be very very careful in what environment we put ourselves into. So if we are unconscious, we will reap the sort of fruits of being unconscious, and if you are conscious, we will reap the fruits of that. So which is why chanting is a way of consciously manipulating yourself back into resonance. So understanding the mantra also is a very very good thing, because then you have an intellectual and a heart resonance. So till now what I'm talking about is only the heart. Music only aligns your frequencies and your heart. It's from the heart center. Whereas your mind, and when you read the meaning of the mantras, it is a very good exercise, because then your mind also gets aligned. Sometimes you're very skeptical. So while the impact is there in your body, but there is a dissonance, because you say whether this is true, whether this is not true. So that may, or that may not have the complete positive benefits of your, like if you listen to a mantra and you're skeptical whether this mantra will have an effect on you or no. So while your body is absorbing the positive sound signature of the mantra, your mind is sort of not letting that mantra completely percolate into your being, just because of this skepticism. So when you understand the meaning of the mantra, that lowers your guard down a little bit and lets the sound actually do the intended impact. That's what I would say. Right? So
I have a question here.
I just add to that, Priya, that response. Uh, so in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Traigunyo Vishaya Veda. He says, this is not very popular opinion, but even the Vedas talk about the three gunas only and not beyond that. So this is also a path towards that and not going beyond. So the meaning helps us to get to what is it actually talking about and going beyond. So this is the bodily effects is one of the effects and could be like a side effect, but the meaning is what is required. And especially for the Upanishads, a lot of the Vedic chants are also the ritualistic part of the Vedas. So the Brahmanas and the Samhita and the Brahmana part is what we chant. And as you go more to the Aranyaka and Upanishad, then it's not the chant, but the meaning that becomes more important. And even in Vedic chanting, the meaning is important to go into. But even traditionally, first children when the Gurukulams were taught how to chant by rote, and then the meanings were taught. So 7 years they only learned the Veda to chant it fully, and then later when they're mature enough, then you go on to chant. So if we get an opportunity, we will go deeper. Each one of us individually will go deeper into the meaning. But this is the start. It is not the end of the journey. Learning to chant. Yeah. Back to you,
Srinath, you
Priya.
had a question? Yeah.
Thank you, Rohit ji, for that. That was a beautiful explanation. Yeah, I just wanted to ask. You said, see that the when you listen to the chant, you're in, like you said, you're in a mall or in a different place where certain different types of music is being played, and then whether you want it or not, that frequency is going to affect you. I have a question here to ask. If you're chanting, you're doing a regular chanting of the mantras and such like that, will this, what your internal chanting that, or what you're chanting, have that effect such that you're able to,
Counter impact.
not get affected by that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because then your mind, see, while you will, while a patriotic, so even if you do mantra chanting, when a patriotic, music plays, or, when any other music plays, it will have that intended effect on your body, but it will not make you, it will make you more grounded. For example, when you're in a fast food outlet, it will give you that, the thing of deciding whether to do something or no. Your body might be saying that, oh yeah, we should go and buy that food or buy that burger and eat it fast, when you're having a very high tempo music there. But when you're chanting, it gives you that sort of a grounding. It might just make you pause for that minute and say, okay, I don't want instant gratification, I don't mind delayed gratification, let me evaluate whether that. So that space between your body giving a knee-jerk reaction and you're actually acting on it, that space gets more elongated when you chant.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions? Okay, excellent. So let me just go ahead then. Yeah. So as I said, so once then, so from Krishna Yajurveda, we went to the Samaveda chanting, where you had a little bit more notes, not fully 7 notes, but about 5 notes, which actually Rohit, when he demonstrated, he was going in the range of 5 notes. Then what happened is that we evolved to the Saptaswaras. Now, why am I going into all this is, again, because I want to reiterate the importance of mantra chanting, of classical music, of anything, so that we can, this is basically the importance of swaras in and the effect that they have on our system. So that's why I'm going beyond the Krishna Yajurveda, which is what we will actually be learning with Rohit. But just a slight thing beyond it, just to give you a taste of ragas and their impact on the human system, and how even Bollywood has manipulated ragas, just as an interesting tidbit. So having said that, so now we are at a stage where we are at the Samaveda level, and then we came to what is called the Samagana. Now the Samagana is something that started using Saptaswaras, right? Saptaswaras is what? Nothing but sa, re, ga, ma, pa, dha, ni, sa. Right? I think everyone is aware of the Saptaswaras, but just in case you're not, let me just give you one, the sargam. I'll just introduce you to the sargam. So it is sa, re, ga, ma, pa, dha, ni, sa. Right? So these are the 7 notes. Right? Now 7 notes, again, these are not 7 notes that have just come into being randomly. So they affect the energy system in a certain way. So in fact, a lot of sound healing practices actually use these 7 notes to tune your body back to resonance. Now every note affects a chakra. We all know that we have 7 main chakras, right? So the lower sa, that is a sharjam. Sa, that affects the Mooladhar chakra, right? So, for example, if you have a lot of fear in yourself of whether whether I'll survive this place or no or whatever, it's important to just listen to the sargam, the sa part. So you can just go onto the YouTube and just say simple basic sargam, and then when the sa comes, try to elongate that and try to meditate on that. Just when I say meditate on that, just try to seize your thoughts or just focus on that sa sa. So just keep doing that. You will actually start, over time you'll see that your fears have actually lessened because you have actually activated your Mooladhara chakra, right? And same thing for all the other chakras. Like Rishabh is the Swadhisthana chakra. So if you have some problems with your reproductive organs and stuff like that, if you have some problem, this generally helps you to align yourself better so that you're more resonant with the correct energy of your Swadhisthana chakra, and so on and so forth. So I won't go into the entire thing. I'm sure we'll be sharing this PPT with you, but are there any other questions on this first?
I'm parallelly responding to questions, Priya. So no questions so
Oh,
far.
excellent. Okay, great. Okay, thanks, Rohit. Okay, so having said that, let me have a time check. Oh, we already okay. I'll just quickly go through this part, right? So over time we evolve into ragas, right? So raga is nothing but it's a melody pattern. It's a melodic arrangement of notes. So for example, you have sa re ga ma pa dha ni sa. So you could have a raga called Bhupali, which has only sa re ga pa dha sa. So there is no ma and there is no ni, right? So there could be different kinds of ragas, just which are just melodic patterns. For example, you could have a raga which is, say, Bhairav. Now Bhairav is a rag in which actually we are going to be chanting. So the three notes that we are going to be doing, Udata, Anudata, Svarita, actually meet the pattern of Bhairav, right? So so the Bhairav is actually sa re ga ma pa dha ni sa, right? So these are very common, like I would we don't have to worry about it right now, but they are actually called komal swaras. So you're not really hitting the frequency of re completely, you're going a slightly lower, but we don't have to worry about all this. All we need to know is that these are actually ragas, and ragas are melodic patterns which are actually used again. They have a certain impact on the energy system, right? So having said that, so there are certain ragas for times of the day, right? For example, if the ragas which are in the morning, they go on the lower octave. They basically go on the lower swaras, and they give you a calm and grounded atmosphere, right? So for example, our raga Bhairav, which is actually based on our Krishna Yajurveda chanting, is based on the raga Bhairav. It is a morning raga because it can give you that calm and grounded. It makes you, it kind of gets you ready for the day. It actually energizes you by keeping you grounded, right? And then you have the noon ragas, which is like Bhim Palasi. So again, you want to just sort of feel more bright, like, because midday is bright. So that Bhim Palasi rag, all these rags actually brighten you up as per the the time signature of that raga. And the last part is the evening rag. So evening ragas, so okay, let me just take you through this. So the evening ragas are actually divided into two parts, right? So okay, so like after the Madhyanam, after the Madhyanam, we have the Sayankal, that is 6 to 9 p.m., which is devotional and romantic. Now the parts that I should be telling you all is that a lot of Bollywood songs, lot of them are actually based on the evening ragas, the romantic part. For example, Yaman. So Yaman basically goes like this: ne re ga ma pa dha ni sa ni da pa ma ga re ne re sa. So this raga, for example, ranjish hi sahi dil dukhane ke liye ranjish hi sahi. This is Yaman. Okay? Aaj jaane ki zid na karo. So what I'm trying to say is that these ragas have the desired effect. Yaman makes you feel a little bit romantic. It's like a raga for playfulness, right? And then you have the Ratri ragas. Ratri ragas are more gambhir. For example, Bhupali rag. So there are some ragas where you actually get into more meditative state, right? And then you have the Pratakal ragas, which are Bhairavi, Lalit, all of that. So you can research into that. I've given you this thing. You can always go back and listen to them and then see. But for example, I would say that Bhairav rag Bhairav rag is also a very patriotic rag. For example, this song, if you've seen, ये दुनिया एक दुल्हन, ये दुनिया एक दुल्हन, दुल्हन के माथे की बिंदिया, I love my India. So this is Bhairav. Bhairav also gets you into a patriotic mood. Right? So there are ragas which people really sort of focus on, and this is all very engineered. Now, why is Bollywood so obsessed with Yaman? Jab Deep Jale Aana, ye Moh Moh Ke Dhage, all of them are Yaman based. In fact, ye Lal Ishq, ye Malal Ishq, it also has a lot of elements of Yaman into it. Now, music directors are very, very knowledgeable about the ragas and their effects on the body. So therefore, they choose these kind of ragas to get you into that romantic mood, right? And so on and so forth. Right. So having said,
Yeah, could you give one example of Ratri Raga as well, the deep, serious one? Any common
okay.
song? I mean, popular
Yes,
song.
of course, yes. Basant. Okay. Wait, hold on. Ratri Raga. Okay, wait, hold on. Okay, Kedar.
Ramaji says Mal.
Yes. Kedar. Let me give you an example. Sorry. Who did some?
I said Malkons.
Malkons, yes, absolutely. Oh, yes, I have a story to tell you about Malkons also. I will tell you that story now. But before that, Malkons, let me just remember Malkons. Okay, this is a Malkons, but I don't remember the Bollywood rendition of Malkons, but I can tell you Malkons otherwise. Right? So, Mukha moda moda muskate jaat ऐसे चंचल नार चले पथ संगत मुख कहु के रसिले अखिया मान भई ए बिद सुंदर हो कलाहे चली जात सब सखिया साथ सब मुख मोड़ मोड़ मुस्कात जात. So it gets you in a serious mode generally.
That sounds like Man Tadapat.
Yes. Thank you so much. Yes. Man Tadapat. I don't remember the words, but yes, absolutely. Yes, you're right. So it's a devotional, serious rag. Okay, so I have a story about Malkons. And so, Ravi Shankar, Pandit Ravi Shankar. Right, so Pandit Ravi Shankar's first wife was Annapurna Devi, Ma Annapurna Devi. So she was the daughter of this Ustad Alauddin Khan. Alauddin Khan Sahab, yes. Right? So Alauddin Khan Sahab was, I would say he was a living god because he could play 122 instruments. He taught 122 instruments to different students. And he was also very connected to God. Like, he would use music as a sadhana. And that's exactly what his daughter Annapurna Devi ji also inherited. And she trained a lot of musicians. For example, your Hari Prasad Chaurasia, she trained him in flute. She trained a lot of people in sitar, who are actually exponents right now. Right? She trained a lot of people in the veena. So she also could play a lot of instruments. Right? So now, when Annapurna Devi used to practice, she would practice for like 18 hours a day, 20, like she would barely sleep. Right? So now, so what happened was that this is Mehar. Now, Mehar is a village in Madhya Pradesh where they used to stay. This also the Mehar Gharana comes from there. So in Mehar, so a lot of villagers started observing a lot of occult things at night. For example, a lot of unusual activity, around their place. Okay, they used to say that some figures come and go and things like that used to happen a lot. Okay, so they came and complained to Ustad Alauddin Khan Sahab. So Alauddin Khan Sahab said, okay. So then he called his daughter secretly and he asked her, Beti, तुम ये मालकौस राग अभी तुम क्या रियाज कर रही हो आजकल? Basically what I'm saying is what are you practicing nowadays, daughter? So the daughter says that I'm practicing Malkauns Rag. So he says, and how many hours are you doing Malkauns Rag? So he said, I do it for 14 hours a day. So then he said, okay, so don't do it for 14 hours a day, do it for less than 5 hours a day. So then when she started reducing the time allotted to Malkauns Rag, at that particular time at night, the activity actually stopped. The occult activity stopped. So this is the kind of impact music actually has if it's done in the correct way. Right? Okay. So having said that, coming back to what we should do, right? Now let's begin our practice. So now let's begin our journey. So these are certain practices that I would like you to do. For example, here, these are some notes, and right? So this is your udata because there is no, there's no sign here which is here, like, this is a normal sign. So you can say, okay, so let me just demarcate what note am I singing right now. So yeah. I'm going up. Coming down. So you can repeat this 3 times. Right? And then coming back to Udata, going to Svarita, like that. Okay, again you can repeat this 3 times. This is for your practice. I'll anyways record this and send it to you, all of this once. At least this part I'll record once, and then you can maybe follow my voice, but it may not be your normal pitch. That's my only concern. Okay, so then now sorry, is it a question?
Yeah, I was just wondering if we could try it now just for a minute, or is that going to hold up the class?
Sorry, Gayatri, I couldn't get you. What are you saying?
I was saying, can we try it now for a minute, or is that going to hold up
okay, you
the
can
class?
raise your hands, and then maybe Rohit, you can call some people out, and then. But just let me just give you this one demonstration of the Anudata first. Sorry. So here I just went from Udata to Anudata, back to Udata, back to Anudata, back to Udata. So these are the three things which demonstrate all the patterns of the Krishna Yajurveda style chanting. Yeah. So now you could we could have some volunteers, Rohit, if yeah, and then we could yeah.
I'm verbally raising my hand.
Okay, so yeah, you can start.
I think hand raise is disabled for some reason. So
Okay, great. So maybe you can put it on chat whether you want to chant or no. You can maybe say yes or something like that, and then.
Okay. It's just my own unique problem.
Yeah. Okay.
Could you please repeat it so that then I can repeat it off to you?
All right. Yeah. Yes. Okay. So I'll just repeat the entire phrase, Gayatri ji, and then you can just follow me, right?
Sure. So it was Udata, Anudata, Swarita.
Udata, Swarita, Udata.
Okay, Udata, Swarita. Oh, right. It was higher.
Yes.
Up. Okay.
Yes. No, it's okay. It takes time to get used to it. Yeah. Can you try?
Yeah, I'm trying. Can you hear me?
Yeah. I just heard. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, Gayatri ji, you went above. I'm very happy about that. But just you went a little one notch higher, but that's fine. For now, you actually went higher than the Udata. That's amazing. Very good, Gayatri ji. You're on the right path.
It's Anu. It's Anu, by the way.
Sorry, Anuji. Sorry. I don't know why I'm saying Gayatri ji for some reason. Okay. Yeah. All right. Anuji. Yeah. Perfect. So let me just then I think we have Rohit ji who is raised. So Rohit, if you can just call out people and then maybe they can ask, you can ask them to chant.
Yeah, Rohit Kapoor and then Akriti.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Rohit,
I can
Rohit ji, do you want me to repeat or would you want to just chant first?
Maybe I'll try first. And, yeah, see.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll try and
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. Yes. So you did go up. You did go above the frequency of Udatta, but you just went a few notches high. So which is fine for now. It'll come with a lot of ear training. So when I say ear training, I'm saying listening. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to record this part and I'm going to share it. And if you listen to it multiple times, you will end up hitting the right frequency. But for now, the fact that you're actually deferring and you're actually putting yourself a notch up is very good, Rohit ji. So that's good. Yeah. Akriti ji?
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Um, uh, uh,
Yes. Akriti, so when you came back, you actually went a little lower than what you should have gone. So it is important that you recognize your so remember that first note that you said. So this is a lot of mind training also. Like, you're remembering the note. You have to come back to that note. So there's a lot of mind training. And in fact, by the end of Sri Rudram, you're going to be a different person. You're going to be much sharper, more intelligent, more alert, all kinds of. It's going to be a version 2.0 of your own self because of the whole sound and the impact of that it has on your mind.
Thank you so much.
Apart from the other things, yes. But yes, Akriti ji, you did go up a notch, and I'm happy about that. You're able to differentiate between frequencies, which is very good for now.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Yes. So Rohit, so do we have more time? We can have more people.
I think we can continue practice for about 20 more minutes, 15, 20 more minutes.
Sure.
Those who want to drop off can drop off, but
Okay.
it would be best if you stay on because this part is better done live rather than listening to the video. So my request would be to stay on.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
please go
so
ahead.
we have Vikas ji now. I mean, I because I can see his hand. I don't know. I can't see anybody else's hand. So yeah.
Yeah, only he has raised his hand,
Okay,
and
excellent.
after that, Disha ji. Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Okay,
Can I go
Vikas ji.
there? Okay, sure.
Vikas ji.
Uh, uh, uh,
Yeah. Vikas ji, again, congratulations on the fact that you're able to raise your voice to a different frequency. But your frequency is again a little bit more than what is needed for the Swarita.
oh, okay.
Right? But that's fine. I would again suggest that you can listen to the recording when I send, and then you can just say how much higher. Only that much, and then come down like that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Vikas ji. Okay, we have Disha ji here.
Okay, I'll try.
Yes. Yes, that's right, Disha ji. You hit the right frequency. Yeah. Thank you.
May I?
Thank
Vivek,
you.
Yes.
and then Rabi and Lavanya.
Okay.
Rohit, is it Vivek you said?
Vivek ji,
Yes,
yeah.
I said
Vivek,
Vivek.
you
Please
do.
go ahead.
Yes.
I'll read the first line.
Yeah. Fair enough, Vivek ji. Again, as I said, the same feedback. You did go higher, which is very good for your ear right now. But it's just that you have to come back a little bit. Yes, that's right. Yes, that's the right frequency. I don't know who chanted that, but yeah, I think Vivek ji, if you did, that's the right frequency. Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Great. Thank you. I think we have Rabi ji now. Rabi ji.
And
as
then
Rohit ji
Lavanya
said.
and Madhu.
Okay, excellent. Okay.
I'll start.
Yes, Rabi ji.
Ah, 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 ah.
Very good.
Do you sing, Rabi ji? Your voice sounds very musical.
Yeah, I've learned a little bit.
Sorry?
I've learnt a little bit. Not
Very
Nice.
good. No, this is perfect frequency. Perfect frequency. Okay. I think next we have Lavanya ji. Lavanya ji, again, good effort on the, on the effort on raising your frequency. But again, it's a few notches higher than what is needed. So I would suggest Lavanya ji that you listen to the recording and then try to. I don't know. Somebody has unmuted themselves and there's too much of background noise. I would request everyone to mute themselves. Okay, sorry. Can people mute themselves? Rohit, can you just mute this? Whoever is
I'm
speaking.
trying. I'm not able to find out who's unmuted.
That's the thing. Okay, anyways, so we had Lavanya ji now.
You can just mute all and then
Ashwini ji.
go to Priya ji.
Ashwini ji, I think was unmuted.
Ashwini ji, is it? Okay.
Okay, so who's next, Rohit? I don't know. Madhu ji, you said?
Yeah, yes. She had her hand up.
Yeah. So Madhu ji, you were right when you went to the Svarita, but when you came back to the Udatta, you went a little lower. So you have to do
Okay.
Right. Okay, great. Thank you, Madhu ji. I think next, Rohit, who is it Jigisha ji or who is it?
Yes. Ashwini ji, can you mute yourself? I'm not able to mute you.
Can I try?
Yes, Jigisha ji, please.
Okay.
There's some people who are also asking on chat. Yes. Excellent, Jigisha ji. Perfect.
Biji, then Bhavneet, and then Nidhi.
Okay.
Can I?
Yes, please.
Yeah, Biji, please go ahead.
So Biji ji, very good effort on coming back to the same Udatta, but your Svarita is little higher. I would say about 1% higher. So it's very less effort. You just have to get it one notch down. Otherwise, very good. Good effort.
Thank you.
Okay. Next we have Bhavneet ji. Very good, Bhavneet ji. Perfect. Excellent. Okay, then we have Nidhi ji.
Yes. So I'll start from the lowest.
Yes, please. Nidhi ji, what I would say is that here I'm trying to test the ability to come back to the Udatta. So
Achha.
can you just try the Udatta, Svarita, Udatta for now? Yeah. So Nidhi ji, you have to do so don't go any higher.
Achha. Thanks.
Okay, great. After Nidhi ji, Rohit, who do we have? Shrikant ji?
Yes,
may I?
we have Shrikant, Ananta, then Rituji, then Gurpreet.
Okay, and we also have Bharti ji who wants to try. I don't know, Bharti ji, if you can raise your hand, it would be better to sort of. Okay, anyways.
I'm not able to raise the hand. I don't.
Okay.
No,
So
sir, I
Bharti ji,
just.
then what you can do is you can just you can go after maybe Gurpreet ji then. So
Sure.
after Gurpreet ji you can go. Yeah. Okay. Yes. Yes. Perfect, Srijan ji. Perfect.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Priya, just a suggestion. Could we go to the other lines and get people to practice and see if they're getting it?
Absolutely.
Line 2 and so on.
Absolutely. So what I can do, what did I do right now?
I think you went.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry. So what I can do is I can chant this particular phrase. So if I chant this phrase, this has all Udatta, Anudatta, and Svarita. Right? So that way it will help everyone. Right? So let me say ah. Swarita, we have come up. Which is the Udata back to. So let me repeat it again. Anudata, we have come down to Anudata. We go back to Udata. We stay on Udata. We go up. We come down back to Udata. So again, if I say right? So this pretty much is a very good practice for you. Even if you cannot practice any other lines, if you can practice just this line multiple times, it's a very good practice.
Priyaji, is the second one lower than the first one?
Yes, because it's got an underline. So
Yeah,
even
yeah,
if you
okay.
hear here a lower tone notated by a horizontal line, like
Yeah,
underline, like
got
this.
it, got it.
So
Yeah.
you can check this. Anyways, Rohit will be sharing the PPT with everyone. So yes, in fact, I would say that practice these two stanzas, these two phrases, both these. If you can't practice, don't have the time to do everything else, just do this much. Because this has all Swarita, Udata, Anudata, everything it has. Right? Okay. So anyone who wants to practice this phrase also, you can practice when you've raised your hands. So who's
Ma'am,
next?
could you say it again,
And
please?
Yeah, I'll say this phrase again for now. Right? So again, because we have the same Udata continuing Swarita back to Udata right? It's okay if you don't get the full frequency now. Please don't stress about it. Listen to it again and again. I will share the recording with you for these two phrases. Certainly I'll share the recording. You can just follow my voice. Eventually it will come. It's these notes, if you have not been musically trained, or you don't listen to that much music, it may or may not come to you, but don't worry at all. If you keep on bombarding yourself with this 5 minutes a day, 2 minutes a day, it's fine, it will come to you, right? So for now you can just try. At least if you can change your frequency in your voice, that's also good enough for now.
And Priya, can this be? I'm just asking for the practice part. Can it be like this line? I'm just chanting this line.
Yes, please.
Like a chant.
Hmm.
So 1 second, let me clear
Yeah.
this into it. Would it be?
Yes. Absolutely, Rohit.
Okay. And just to clarify the same thing below, second one. Sorry. So.
Excellent, Rohit. Yes, that's right. That's right. Actually, I wanted for people who want to even chant this aksharas. It's a very good idea, because sometimes you can hit the frequency with but whenever your akshara changes, sometimes your throat doesn't cooperate with your brain. So it's important that you try to use all these syllables and go to the Swarita, Udata, Anudata. That's why this entire sheet is being given to you as a practice sheet. So what I'll do is, for every maybe what I can do is I can chant everything once and I can record it. I think maybe that will be
Yeah,
good
please.
for once. Yes, I'll do that. I'll do that entirely, and I'll share it with you. Yeah. Okay, Rohit, who's next?
I'd like to go.
Rituji is next.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay. And after Gurpreet ji, we have Bharti ji also. We shouldn't be forgetting. Bharti ji,
Yeah.
please.
Bharti ji Rituji is unmuted. After her, Bharti ji can go.
Yeah. Okay.
Priya ji, I should chant the third line or the Soma?
You can chant anything you want, Rituji.
Rituji,
You
more
can chant.
advanced. You are more advanced, so you should do one of the
Anybody who
Soma,
wants to chant,
Ram,
yeah.
or any of the other ones.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I was going to say that only. Yes.
Okay. Soma, 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 so.
Yes. Rituji, if you're going to the Svarita, you went to the correct frequency. Very good.
Okay. And
yes, that's right, Rituji. If you did the first line, that's right.
Okay.
What have I done? Yeah. Yes, Rituji, correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
So Gurpreet ji, we have you now. Excellent, Gurpreet ji. You are able to hit the right frequency and also come back to the right frequency, which is very good. Very good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sheetal ji, then
Sheetal
Prema and Dr.
No, now we
Ashi.
have Bharti ji. Rohit, we have Bharti ji now.
Yeah, now.
Bharti ji, please chant.
Okay. Soma or Ah?
Anything you wish to chant, Bharti ji. Anything.
Okay, I'll do Soma first.
Okay.
Soma, Soma, so.
Yes, Bharti ji. So, while you have done the change of frequency, but you're a few notches higher. So, you should do so, ma, so, ma, so. Like that.
Soma,
Right?
Soma, so.
Very good, Bharti ji. Very good. That's right.
And can I do the A also, please?
Yes,
The
please.
one with all
Yes.
the intonation, I think is the fourth
Yes,
line.
please do.
Ah, 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 ah.
Yes, Bhatiji. So you're hitting the Anudata right, but the Svarita is going a slight notch higher. So I would suggest that you listen to my recording, but you did a Soma Soma right, which is what I was trying to tell people, that you can do some aksharas you'll get right and some aksharas you may not. So
Yeah,
you
I
just
think
listen to the
we need
recording and I think you'll
practice.
get it. Yes,
Yeah,
you'll get
thank
it.
you.
Thank you so much, Bhatiji. Yeah. Next, Rohit, I think we have Sheetal ji. I don't know.
Right. Okay, I'll try the
Sheetal ji,
first.
then Prema, then Rashi.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, thank you. Ah, 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 ah.
Yes. So what I'm saying is, Sheetalji, you're doing correct, but sometimes when you come back to the Anudata, you come back slightly lower. So practice coming back to the Udata many times. Otherwise, you're hitting the right frequencies. Very good.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Then we have Prema.
Hi.
Hi,
First
Prema.
of all, I want to say you are phenomenal.
Thank you.
And I'll practice the fourth line, which starts with Soma, Soma Bhu.
Okay. Perfect.
Ma Bhu Ma So Ma So.
Mabhu, Maso. Can you just say that again? This one. Are you talking about this one?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. This one, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Ma Bhu Ma So Ma So.
So Prima, it's ma bhu, because this bhu is anudata, right? So
Yeah.
you have to say ma bhu ma so. Just say this much.
Ma Bhu Ma So.
So you went down correctly. Ma bhu ma so. So and ma are at the same frequency. Ma so, like that.
Ma Bhu Ma So.
Ma so. So practice ma so. Otherwise you're fine.
Okay, so
Ma.
where am I missing the ma and so? I'm dropping the so? Or?
Yes, you're dropping the so. You're
Okay.
dropping the so. Yeah.
Okay. Ma bhu ma so.
Yeah. So again,
Okay.
dropping the so, Prema.
Oh,
So
I'm still
what you should
dropping.
do?
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So you just
Okay.
listen to the recording and try to match your voice with that. I will
Okay.
send you the recording.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Prema. Okay.
So, Dr. Rashi, then, okay, all others have chanted already. So, we can close in 2 minutes. Dr. Rashi is next.
Okay.
Yeah, hi. So it
Hi,
is, I'm doing it for the first time.
Yes,
So,
please.
yeah,
Whatever you want to, your choice.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So, ma, so, ma, so.
Yes, Dr. Rashi, for your first time is very good. So,
Okay.
but you're coming back to the Udatta at the right frequency, which is very good. But what you need to do is come back as in the right frequency with the Swarita. So it's so, ma, so, ma, so.
Okay. So can I try it once again?
Yes, right.
So, ma, so, ma, so.
Yes, Dr. Rashi. Again, you're doing well, but I would say that to hit the right frequency, you need just to listen to a little bit. Like, so align yourself, but you're able to change your frequency, which is very good.
Hello?
So, yeah, just try that. Maybe, in the recording, it'll be good. But for now, you're going a little higher. That's what I would say.
Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hello.
sorry, I just dropped, I got dropped out. Can you just repeat that once again?
So, Dr. Rashi, what I was trying to say is that you're hitting the right you're changing the frequency correct. You're
Okay.
coming back to the Udatta correctly, but when you're going to the Svarita, it's a little higher than what it should be. So I would, even though you did the second time, which is fine because it's starting for you now. So
Yeah.
I would say that train your ear a little bit. So when I send you the recording, just listen to that and try to just mimic that without anything. Don't even
Okay.
see the intonation, reading वगैरह कुछ भी मत करिए. Just
ठीक,
listen to the
ठीक.
recording and copy that.
Fine.
उससे आपको हो जाएगा.
ठीक है, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. All right. Yeah. I think Rohit, have we covered? Is anyone left? If anyone's left, you can just voice it out for me.
I am left. I have not
Okay,
tried
Anantaji.
even once.
Okay, Anantaji. All right.
Ananta, would you want to try one of the other ones, Ram, Reem, Rom one?
Oh,
It's a very good exercise, I would say.
can I try and the fourth one and the
You try what
second
you
one
want to
in
try.
Soma?
Try what you want to try. Yeah.
Okay. Ah, 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 ah.
Yes, Anantaji, you're going the right. You're able to maintain Udatta, which is very good. And just your Swarita. I'm coming from here, okay? So I'm coming from so should be just that much higher.
Okay. So,
Right?
yes,
that's what I want. That's right. That's right. Perfect.
And the Soma one, the second line.
Okay, try that.
Soma, Soma, so.
Perfect. Perfect, Anantaji. Perfect. You're good.
Thank you.
Yeah. Right. And I think we have Sumiji now left, right? And then
Yeah,
I
and
think
we'll
we'll
close
conclude
with
with that.
that.
Yeah, we'll conclude with that. Yeah.
And Priya, I'd request you to conclude with any mantra or song you want after this.
Okay. Thank you, Rohit. Yes. Sumiji, can you try that? Sumiji, are you on mute?
He's
can't
not
hear
on mute, but we can't hear you.
I'm not
Maybe
able
it's
to
your
hear you.
earphone. If you can take off your earphone and directly. No, we still can't hear you. Can you just take that off entirely and just talk into the laptop or phone directly? No, can't hear.
No, Sumiji.
Audible?
Yes.
Yes, now we
No?
can hear you. Yeah, go ahead.
Am I
Go ahead.
audible?
Yes.
Yes,
Now you're
yes,
audible.
you are.
Yes.
So I want to try this fourth line.
Yeah.
Uh,
So Sumiji, you're able to come back to the normal Udatta, but you're not going down. So if you're talking about this line, it is ah, ah, ah. So you have to go down. Ah, ah, ah. That's what you'd focus on. You're doing the
Okay.
Swarita right. Right. Okay. So sorry, Sumiji, you want to try once? I can't hear you though. Anyways, I think we'll be having more. I mean, I think we can probably repeat if people want to practice. We can have some more practice, I suppose, eventually. So for now, I'm stopping to share. And so, are there any questions on this? Like, if there are any questions, please. Any conceptual things? Like,
Hi, I don't have a question, but I would like to do a tiny share.
Yes.
So, since morning, I've been like massaging my arm with oil, and I've been having pain because I fell yesterday from the skate. But I want to say that when Rohit was chanting the Samveda mantra, I felt like from inside, like something was bubbling out. Like, it's not goosebumps, but like, I felt significant. I don't know what to say, but like I could feel it. And so my request is to Rohit to just record that much bit of the Samaveda prayer and put it in the group. And after attending the overall class, now I feel significant reduction in the pain. So thank you, both of you, and all the chanters.
So Prema, what we were doing is sonic surgery on you. We didn't realize. But now you
Thank
realized
you.
it works.
Thank you for the healing.
Oh, so sweet.
So Priya, over to you for more surgery.
Okay, so I think all of us are sonic surgeons now that we have come into this chanting. So the fact that you are to practice today is also sonic surgery. So everyone is a surgeon now. So let me just chant. Let me just share what I'm also chanting, so that you can see the Udatta Anudatta part of it. So where is it? Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to chant this part, this Shanti mantra, right? Which is actually chanted before the Medha Suktam. I don't know if you've heard of the Medha Suktam, but basically that. So if you can see the Udatta, Anudatta, Swarita, notations are there, and there are some notations that you don't understand. Don't worry about that. But yeah. Om Yaschandasamrishabho Vishwarupah Chandophyothyamritat Sambabhuva Samendro Medhaya Sprinotu Amritasya Devadharano Bhuyasam Shariram Me Vicharshanam Jihva Me Madhumattama Karnabhyam Bhuri Vishruvam Brahmanah Koshosi Medhaya Pihitah Shrutam Me Gopaya Om Shanti 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 Om Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Sarve Jana Sukhino Bhavantu Om. Thank you so much, everyone.
Well, thank you, everyone. And thanks so much, Priya. Wonderful session.
Thank you so much. It was my pleasure.
As expected, it was beautiful surgery. So thank you once again. We'd love to hear you sing more. Maybe a special class on singing and ragas as well.
Yes.
Sure.
Thank you. It was so beautiful.
Sure, definitely. I'd love to sing. I love to sing
Thank you.
anyways.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
And thanks everyone. Thank you for joining.
Thank you, Rohit. Thank
We'll
you,
continue this
Priya.
journey
Thank
next
you,
week.
everybody.
Thank you.
More practice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you
Have
so
a great
much.
week ahead.